What's up, y'all? It's Coach Justin. We're here again at the Sit Down Podcast. We have another very special guest, my boy Omar, family. What's up, How you doing?
Doing all right.
So let's obviously let's start with from the beginning. So I know IQ hoops and everything. We're obviously gonna touch on all of that. Let's start from the beginning, like you as a player, because that's when we first met and we hooped together and stuff. So yeah, like where'd you go to high school? When did you start hooping and start getting serious about it and everything like that?
I started hooping when I was young, 6, 7, 8 years old. I want to say I never took it as serious as I should. I always tell people that, like, I was always good, but I never took everything else as serious. Part of that, I just never had no real guidance. My dad was ripping and running the streets. Mom's was too. So they would fund everything, but they never pushed me really like I should have been pushed. Then, I ended up going to, we moved to Stockton my freshman year. I went to Edison. Yeah, I went to Edison my freshman and sophomore years in Stockton.
Oh, really?
And then didn't like it. Came back to the Bay, went to James Logan High School, finished off there my junior and senior year. Then after that, I had graduated at 16 years old.
For real?
Yeah.
Did you skip a grade or did you start school
I
early?
went to school early.
How was that?
It was.
Whatever.
I was used to it. So it
was a norm.
It was a norm from once I was a kid, so I was used to it. So I never, which was part of the problem. I did, like I said, I did an interview the other day we was talking about earlier, where I think that was part of the issue. I never really had a big homie or a big friend. Everybody else was older than me from the start, so I was looked at as the same. So I wasn't having anybody pushing me to push me in a certain direction. You know what I mean? So I was figuring things out.
Do you think that affected you as a player? Because obviously, if you graduate at 16, I mean, you're super young.
Not as a player, because I always played up anyways. So by age, it didn't really matter because I was always playing
with the adults,
or 2 years older and things like that.
Right.
So it didn't really affect me after my senior year. I'll get to the subject of when I started training and really taking the game serious. I always give big praises to Phil Handy. He was my first real trainer.
Really?
In high school.
I've never worked out with you.
Yeah, he was my first real trainer in high school. A lot of the stuff that I'm doing now started from that foundation base. And he was the first person to kind of be like, okay, this is the direction this is how you're going to do it, this, that, and the third. And so long story short, he helped me trying to find JUCOs and things like that. And I pretty much narrowed it down. I ended up going to Fresno City. I came back, didn't like it. He got me in the West Valley. I was too busy being in the streets at the same time, to be honest. So I wasn't, once again, I jumped off the porch early. You get what I'm saying? And I started diving in head first with trying to be a student, but trying to be in the streets at the same time. And you can't do both.
Impossible.
So long story short, I kind of fell off the face of the earth when it came to hoop. I was always hooping every day. Like, you would see me at High Street. I would go to High Street. I would go to Richmond. I would go wherever people were saying it was run was. I would be at TASA. I'd be at EOYDC. I'd be in Union City. It didn't matter. We would load up the cars, ride out to everybody else's hood, and just hoop.
At this time, you're not in college?
Not in college at all. So I didn't go back to play. Like, the highlights everybody is seeing, I was 20 turning 21. My daughter was just born, and I was going to law school at that time.
And
so I didn't play.
You're a freshman at this time or a sophomore?
I'm a freshman.
Wow.
I'm a freshman. So I took classes here and there throughout the way, and, I just never took it really serious. And a good friend of mine, what made me go back, a good friend of mine, he's like my brother right now, and his name is Juma Kamor. He's a Stockton guy, Stockton legend when it comes to hoop, played at Stagg High School, played pro, and we used to play. And one day I'm killing him. And he's like, bro, and he's coming fresh from overseas. He's like, bro, you playing with your gift. You need to go play. And at this time, truth be told, I'm making too much money that I'm not even thinking about playing. You get what I'm saying?
It's fun for you at this point.
It's fun. And then, I was thinking about it, and then your dad and my dad started talking. And your dad was trying to get me at schools and things like that. Then that's when I was like, when people was calling, I was like, shit, maybe I can play a little bit.
Did that kind of make you feel like people cared?
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah, because you got to think about it. I didn't play from 16 to 20, 21.
So how old were you when we used to hoop at 24 together? Because I had to be in high school still, right?
You was in high school. Because Kwame was still around too around those times, and
Man, that run used to
y'all,
be
it
crazy.
used to be crazy. It used to be run. You had to be able to hoop up there.
That used to be some good runs.
I would say I was like 18, 19 at that time. You know what I mean? 18, 19 years old. I already had my own spot. I was living by the lake. Like, I was just doing whatever. And, you know, I told myself, you know, I'm a give myself a year. And if it go like it's supposed to, I'll keep playing. If it don't, I got to figure it out because I had a daughter at the time. So that's what I did. I just put all my eggs in one basket. Me and Costello was real close. Early on, he was recruiting me when I was at Logan, you know, my junior year to my senior year when he was at Chabot before he got the Los Pro job. And, you know, me and him talked, and that's how I ended up at Los Positas for that year.
Got you. And then after Lost Pro, did you play any more?
Nope. Truth be told, I didn't even finish that season.
Really?
Yeah, that like what everybody is seeing is like 80% of the season. I mean, me and Costello got into a real heated argument in front of everybody. And I mean, those who know the story.
Yeah.
And at that point, either he had to go or I had to go. It was one of those.
Right.
And it got crazy, and you know, I ended up trying to go to Los Medanos. Your dad again. He had called.
That's
Los
when
Medanos.
Marshall was still there, huh?
Marshall was there. Marshall was trying to get me to come there, but then I got my last little financial aid check, and I'm like,
Over it.
I'm over it. I'm cool. And then the rest was history. I mean, at that time it was 2009, 2010, and I was just trying to figure things out. And
So I was a freshman too then in college because
Going
I
to
graduated 09. Yeah.
you going to college. So, yep. So that's what it was.